Hey guys, welcome to my legal classes. This is Ganesh Pujari, and in the series of Indian Evidence Act, we are dealing with chapter 10, which is all about examination of witness. And in my last class, we have already discussed the first section, that is section 135, which is how to produce and examine the witness. Now the next question is, who will decide the admissibility of evidence? That's what exactly we are going to understand, and the title itself is saying that judge to decide as to admissibility of evidence under section 136. Here I am going to give the Barrack provision. As always, I will be giving a chart. Then I will explain a case law along with the 4 illustrations given in the act itself. And finally, I have one bonus slide which is for you guys, which will be my last slide. With that, I am taking you to first slide. First, I will quickly read out the Barrack provision, that is section 136 on judge to decide as to admissibility of evidence. The Barrack provision says, when either party proposes to give evidence of any fact, the judge may ask the party proposing to give the evidence in what manner the alleged fact, if proved, would be relevant, and the judge shall admit the evidence if he thinks that the fact, if proved, would be relevant and not otherwise. If the fact proposed to be proved is one of which evidence is admissible, only upon proof of some other fact, such last mentioned fact must be proved before evidence is given of the fact first mentioned, unless the party undertakes to give proof of such fact and the court is satisfied with such undertaking. If the relevance of one alleged fact depends upon another alleged fact being first proved, the judge may, in his discretion, either permit evidence of the first fact to be given before the second fact is proved, or require evidence to be given of the second fact before evidence is given of the first fact. Now it is quite confusing, so let's break it into pieces and make chart and then try understand them along with illustrations, which makes it all very easy, which is all about my next slide. As section 136 is quite lengthy and little tricky, I have divided this particular section into 3 different parts, and let us start the discussion with the first part of the provision. Here, when a particular party proposes to give any evidence related to a fact, now judge has the discretion to ask what is the relevancy of the same. The moment I say relevancy, you have to quickly go back to chapter 2, which is all about relevancy of fact, covered from section 5 to 55. Now judge has the discretion to ask the party which is proposing to give evidence that what is the relevancy of the same. Now if the party proves such relevancy, then judge should admit the evidence, and if the party fails to prove the relevancy, judge should not admit such evidence. Now that is what we need to understand from the first part, which clearly says that judge to decide as to admissibility of evidence. Now let's move to the second part. The second part is quite easy because there are 2 beautiful illustrations available in the act itself, which makes it all very easy. Let us start the discussion with the help of the first illustration itself. Now illustration A discusses about section 32, that is dying declaration. Now if someone want to give an evidence on dying declaration, before even they prove the dying declaration, they need to prove that the person is dead. Now the person is dead, only then section 32 comes into picture and the person can prove the dying declaration. So here what comes first? The person is dead, that comes first, and that needs to be proved, and only after that section 32 dying declaration comes to picture. The declaration comes later. That is what we need to understand. The death happened first, and after that only section 32 comes to picture and the dying declaration can be proved. That is what the chart also says. If one fact proposed to be proved is if admissible only upon the proof of another fact, then such other fact should be proved first. Now let us go to the second illustration which makes it further clear. What happens here? A person is producing a copy of a document and says he has lost the original. Now here the person has to prove that he has lost the original. That comes first. That is very important, and only after that the copy may be considered. Now that is what we need to understand. Here the sequence of the events plays a very important role. The first thing that he has lost the original, and that is why he is proposing the copy of the document. So he has to prove first that he has lost the document, and then he can speak upon the copy. That is what we need to understand from the second part. And now let's move to the third part. The third part is quite similar to second part. Though it is similar, there are differences also. Here we are discussing about two alleged facts. Now there is one alleged fact and then there is another alleged fact, and what happens in such case? The chart says if the relevancy of one alleged fact depends upon another alleged fact being first proved, judge has the discretion to allow evidence in any sequence. There are two alleged facts. In such case, if they are connected, judge has the discretion to allow in whatever sequence he wants to see it. Now, for example, there is a stolen property and somebody has received it. Here, the identification of such stolen property and whether the person has kept it knowingly. Now, these are the two different alleged facts, and judge can ask the parties to prove any of them in whatever sequence. But remember, the last part of the chart says, however, subsequently evidence to be taken for the second fact if first fact is proved. Now, judge will not leave the other one. He can ask in any sequence, but both the alleged facts need to be proved. That is what we need to understand, and that's all about the section. We have one more illustration in my next slide. Let's move there. Here is the last illustration which is available in the Act, which is quite similar to the third illustration, and it goes with the third part of the definition. I will not take much time on that. Now, altogether, what you need to remember under section 136 is who decides the admissibility? It is the judge who decides the admissibility. Now, that is very important aspect you need to remember. Before I get into my bonus slide, let's quickly go through a case law, that is Ram Bihari Yadav versus State of Bihar. Here, the Supreme Court of India has observed that more often the expressions relevancy and admissibility are used as same, but their legal implications are distinct and different for more often than not facts which are relevant are not admissible. So also facts which are admissible may not be relevant. Here judge plays a very important role. Sometimes though it looks like relevant, judge may not admit it. Sometimes though it is not looking relevant, judge may admit it. That comes from section 136. That is what we need to understand from this particular section and case law. With that, I am moving to the bonus slide. When I say a bonus slide, this slide is not the first time I am discussing here. I have already discussed this particular slide when I discussed about relevancy and admissibility. Remember, I have an independent video on that particular topic in my playlist Indian Evidence Act, and we also have an independent presentation on difference between relevancy and admissibility. Now, we need to understand the gist or the ingredients of section 136, which makes it very clear what is relevant and what is admissibility. Now, judge will decide when a party is proposing to give an evidence, judge will ask such parties that what is the relevancy. Now, the moment judge asks what is the relevancy, the parties have to prove the relevancy of such fact under chapter 2, which is all about relevancy of facts discussed between section 5 to 55. Now, when judge get convinced of such proving, he will admit the evidence. That is what we need to understand. That is the gist of section 136. And before handing over the presentation to Nishan for conclusion, I would like to read these 5 important sentences. The first line, what is relevant gets admitted. Now the parties have to prove how it is relevant, and once the judge is satisfied, he will admit them. Now that is the first line. Second line, not all relevant facts may get a chance to get admitted. Now the fact may be relevant, but judge may not admit them. That is the second thing we need to remember. Third one, sometimes it may get admitted, but the fact may not be relevant. If that happens, that is waste of time, and we always need to remember that court time should not be wasted. So we should not try to prove some fact which is not relevant to the case. The last line, hence only relevant and admitted facts can be presented, which is the conclusion of section 136.
Papa, why do you have a picture of a tree without leaves in Thanksgiving?
Nishan, I just felt that it is resembling human life. Sometimes it so happens that we are leading our comfortable life, but suddenly we lose our money. What happens in such case? We struggle to survive. At those times, what we need to do is we have to cut down all our expenses which are not so necessary. Just like a tree, when it doesn't get sufficient water, it leaves all its leaves so that it can survive for some more time, and when the rain comes, it again gets its leaves back, and when we get our properties etc., we can live normally. That is what we need to realize and understand. We should not go for any luxury when we are struggling in our life, and that's why I put this picture in thanks slide.
With that, we are concluding this session. Please subscribe our channel. Please like, share and comment our videos. Thank you. Bye-bye.